All right, Fernando.
All right, Fernando Mendez, chiropractor. Nice to be at Self Center. I was thinking, what's the essence of chiropractic? What are we making all this fuss about? Why have I been coming out here for 20 years? What have we been doing for the last 20 years? It's really about the power that comes through chiropractic, and that's through the art of the adjustment. When people put your hand on that vertebral column, on that tree of life, I get to do it if not every day, every week. And there's so much to the story, understanding what exactly is going on, that we lose that essence of just really describing the power to people. It's so helpful with so many things. But yes, it's not a perfect system. There's nothing perfect out there, and chiropractic requires patience. It's a similar story to almost anything that's been being promised spiritually out there. It's almost not enough for people. And you go, well, why doesn't this work perfectly all the time? Otherwise, let's get rid of it, right? But nothing in this system works perfectly. And coming down to Self Center, I realized it's not the season yet. You have to have patience. What is the promise? Obviously, a better life for us all. But it requires a lot of work. And that's kind of like what we are here to do. We each have work to do. We have to run our race. Again, we have to be patient. But being a chiropractor and experiencing the adjustment every day is something most people don't get, obviously. It's almost like we have to be reporters out there to tell people there is incredible power out there. No, we cannot perfectly get it in our control or use it exactly as we want, but it exists, it's out there. There's more to come. We just have to be patient and work our way towards it, and really know that we are the crowning creation. You know, people get so distracted with artificial intelligence or their phones or what these things can do, but it's like a fraction of what we really do every day, what we can process, how we move. Obviously, we're incredible, but we give that other stuff like so much power. And the great thing is, what can be, right? Again, talk about the promise of all kind of spiritual systems is like there's always a promise of like mañana. But coming down to Self Center, listening to what Pasquale had to say, he really crafted an incredible story. And I just spent like 2 years looking at that Bible and learning the meta narrative, and I had to bring that into Pasquale's big narrative. And I see this beautiful picture, and I try to describe it sometimes to people and explain it, and that's what we do here. But in the essence is that power that comes through chiropractic. And it's not anything I own or Brian owns. You can't sell it. There's not a formula we can describe it with. But we know it's there.
Hey, Fernando? Okay, anyone like to ask Fernando anything? I'll stand over here. Anyone? Nancy Brown.
Yeah, hi. Good to see you. We hear a lot now about AI and how it's going to affect the workforce. Do you see AI influencing in any way chiropractic?
Apparently, yes. The answer is yes, after I had a discussion with a certain chiropractor last week, and I made light of the situation. But again, it's kind of what I described. You know, we're trying to get in touch with these awesome forces. In chiropractic, they've used the term universal intelligence. So it's funny that people are biting onto something that literally says it's artificial. It's not real, you know? So how's it going to affect, I think it's a tool and we can use it productively for our betterment, or we can use it for nonsense. What do we make of these things, right? They're not independent of us. They come from us.
Anyone else like to ask Fernando anything?
come through us.
Anyone? One more time, anyone? Nice clap for Fernando. Excelente. All right, so we have people from Zoom World, but it's only Fernando and I are here. So anyone from Zoom World would like to speak, just let me know.
I would like to speak.
Go ahead, Nancy. I'm gonna sit down.
So I had two very interesting things happening this week. One is that I rolled over my left foot and sprained it. And so I'm home, I'm grounded for a week with my foot up. Now this is really interesting because it brings up the whole subject of alignment of the two sides of the body and what that really means. And you know, it's really made me think a lot in terms of Kabbalah. Those of you who know that, there's two pillars, and then there's the middle pillar is the spine, where the spiritual energy comes down in, and we get off-centered, and we try to, through chiropractic, get people in the middle pillar. So that's been really interesting. And I also had a chance to spend some time with Paula Hedgelon, her husband Michael. Paula is a chiropractic here in Florida, and he said to me, I hear you knew Pasquale. And he told me he heard Pasquale speak. And this is amazing because that must have been over 20 or 25 years ago that he was referring to, and Pasquale apparently made a very big impact on him. So we were talking about Pasquale, and I said, you know, Pasquale told me I was an honorary chiropractor. And he goes, what? And I said, yes. He said, because you keep people aligned. You keep people aligned. And so we had a good laugh over that. His wife, Dr. Paula Hedgelon, is a chiropractor here in Florida, some of you may know, and also she used to take care of me for a bunch of years. But I found it interesting that this whole issue of alignment came up, and thinking about, you know, the left and the right and just getting in the center. And I just feel like chiropractic helps people be authentic in their experience. And I think it's the one profession that all this technology can't touch it, you know, because it's spiritual, it's hands-on, it's people-to-people real. And there's no AI adjustment. It doesn't exist. There may be other things that people are doing with all these modalities and stuff, but it doesn't really get a person aligned, really, spiritually. So that's all I have to say.
All right, anyone like to ask Nancy anything? Anyone? Anyone? One more time, people. Well, Nancy, when did this happen to you with your ankle? Today's
I
Saturday.
think it was Wednesday.
All right.
Yeah, Wednesday.
Oh, Nancy, let me ask you. Wait, does anyone else want to ask Nancy anything before I? With the, then I'll ask you something. With the Kabbalah, you know, you have the pillars, you have.
Right.
But the one in the middle.
Yep.
I
the
believe
middle
you
pillar
said.
is the spine.
Yes. Now what? But is that where it's like the spiritual power happens? Like you said something about.
Yeah. That.
What does that represent?
It comes down
Yeah.
through the top.
Yeah.
And the energy goes through your body, but basically it's in the spine and it keeps like circulating. So this is how we put heaven and earth together. It comes down, goes back up the spine, and it keeps expanding. So we get more and more aligned in a spiritual sense according to the biblical Kabbalistic tradition.
Okay. Anyone else like to ask Nancy anything? Anyone else? All right, thank you, Nancy Brown. All right, the floor is open for whoever else would like to speak, either Victoria or Alex. Or Sevilla wants to get in there too.
Sophia's having a sleepover.
I don't want to know.
There's people partying.
Oh, yeah, that's what I was going, I'll go, Brian.
Go ahead,
Oh,
Victoria.
I'm just gonna say hello, hi, Victoria Mendez, coming to you from Shikshini, Pennsylvania.
Wow.
Wow, she rocks Shikshini.
Is that it?
Hi, you know, we're just doing life here. It snowed all morning and it was beautiful. A little hard to get up the driveway, but got things shoveled a little bit this afternoon and, you know, yeah, Sevy's having a sleepover and Hugo's talking to his friends and life is good.
All right, I don't like to ask Victoria anything. Anyway, what county is Shikshini in?
Columbia County.
Okay. Anyone else like to ask Victoria anything? Anyone? One more time. All right, thank you. All right, does the guy from Bloomsburg want to speak?
Hey everybody,
Are you gonna?
Alex Wilkins, chiropractor in Bloomsburg, Pennsylvania. I was so excited to come to New York today. I even had a reservation down at the Residence Inn on Pearl Street, Lower Manhattan. But the way it was looking with like a ton of accidents on 80, at least earlier this afternoon, I took it as just a day to try to slow down a bit. Had kind of a slow morning in the office, but you know, I was sitting down trying to write a little bit, and well, it ended up being a very slow day because it just conked out. But this whole idea of AI, you really have to wonder long term how it's going to make society look, if it's going to be used the right way and make life easier in some respects, or if it's just going to totally upheave everything and make life difficult for a lot of people. But yeah, thankfully, I don't really believe beyond the marketing aspect of chiropractic, which I guess for a lot of people is a big deal. I'm kind of thankful that it doesn't really seem to have a major impact on what we do, at least at this point, which is something to be thankful for. But I don't know, with that, you know, hopefully winter won't last too much longer, and it'll be nice. It's been way too long since I've actually been at the meeting in person. I was hoping today would be it. That's it.
All right. Would anyone like to ask Alex anything? I'll stand. Anyone? All right, I'll start with an easy one. What county is Bloomsburg in?
Columbia County.
Oh boy, I didn't know that. All right.
Oh, yeah.
But then the bigger question is, if one is in Bloomsburg, what is the significance of Bloomsburg?
I have no
Do
idea.
you know this, Victoria?
No.
No.
The only town in Pennsylvania.
Is what?
Bloomsburg is the only actual place classified as a town in Pennsylvania.
What are the rest called? Cities?
Cities, villages, boroughs, townships.
We officially live in the borough of Jonestown.
All right.
Yeah.
This is all Pennsylvania talk. All right. Anyone else like to ask Alex anything? Anyone? Nancy Brown?
Alex, do you live, or Fernando, do you live near Ade?
Now, Ade is probably about 2.5 hours away, down in, I believe he's in Strasburg, right outside Lancaster. My brother lives kind of close to him, but yeah, it's a bit of a trek down to there. Have you heard from him?
I have. I'm going to talk to him during the next week. Does anyone else
cool.
want to ask Alex anything? All right, everyone. So that's it. All right, now you got to deal with me. Alright, so I'll get up here. Brian Patrick Gordon, chiropractor, Jersey City, New Jersey. So I realized the other day, I sat down at, Sora and Jack were sleeping, it was late, so I like to write and when they're all asleep, and what came to, I'm gonna have to tell the story first, then I'm gonna get into something else I wanna talk about. Now, this young man, he was 9 years old, and I was called in to help him. Now, I knew his parents for a very long time. This is back in 2006. So, I called over there, I met this boy, but he was very little when I met him, like under 3. So I go over there, and he wasn't speaking, and they said he was autistic, and when you walked to the house, there was holes all over the walls of the house from him punching. Holes in the wall, and he couldn't go to school because he was attacking the teachers and everything. So they were at a spot, they didn't know what to do with themselves. So I said, well, give me a little bit of background on this young man. Said because when I met him, he was a little boy, he didn't have any issues like that. When he was 3 years old, he was vaccinated, and as a result, they gave him a whole bunch, like a once or something, and right after that, they said he stopped speaking. Because before that, he was speaking, singing. They had videos of him speaking, singing, dancing, all that stuff. It just blew him out. And then he stopped speaking, and his behavior was just more, if someone was near him, he'd get violent. So when I first met him, he kept trying to attack me. But he's 9, so I was able to stop him. Then he started getting adjusted, and it helped him calm down. So I spoke to his parents and said, I know this old-time chiropractor named Pasquale. Would you mind if I bring him to your house for him to meet your son? They said, sure. So I brought Pasquale over, and at this point, this boy was still, if someone he didn't know came over, he would try and hit them. So we bring Pasquale over, Pasquale sits down, he runs over and kisses Pasquale right in the cheek. Everyone was just shocked. Then he got adjusted, then we sat down and we ate, and he came and sat down with us and ate, and they said he never does that. So Pasquale, I just believe, was able to see his true nature and see what was going on with him, and that gave him peace. I'm going to get back to that, and I'll expand on that in a moment. So, Pasquale said to the mother, he just told her a couple things, and he told her, you have to see him getting better. You have to see it in your head, and you have to be more relaxed, because if you're anxious, it will make him anxious. And then he told her, she's like, how did he get like this? He's like, look at it as a spiritual thing. He says, you know how they talk about your chakras and how each chakra is you at a different level of awareness, and you're supposed to go up them in like small sequential steps, or Jacob's ladder, whatever, however you want to say it. Pasquale says that when they gave him those vaccines, spiritually, it rushed him up that ladder. And when he went up so fast that it was too much, and now he doesn't know how to communicate because he skipped all those steps and went right up. And she says, he told her Brian's job is to help him walk back down that ladder, to get him to slow down. And I went, and that did happen. And he was able to go back to school, and eventually he can go out in public, go anywhere. It turned out that he likes the ballet, so they'd take him to I don't mean the ballet in New York City, like, local ballets that schools do, stuff like that. And so it was nice for them to have that. Now, there's this group, now they're learning with autistic children. First of all, they're very smart, these kids. They don't forget anything. It's just they don't have the communication. And it frustrates them. But now they're teaching these kids, first they use a big, huge board, and it's like a keyboard for typing, like a typewriter computer. And they're teaching the kids how to first use that to spell out words. And then the ones that they get more advanced, the real advanced ones can type it themselves on a computer. And the one little girl got to, she was not a little girl anymore, she got to the point where she could type by herself, and she spoke about her feelings, and she said the reason why she would hit her head against things and do certain things, or hit things like that, she said because she was in so much pain, it was like the only thing that would take it away. Just to do that made her stop thinking about the other pains. A lot of these people have pains in their stomach, digestive issues and things like that. So they're going through a lot. So let's switch over now. Pasquale, this is around 2009, he said. We saw Pasquale, Pasquale passed away in March of 2010. In March of 2009, he pulled me aside. It was like after a meeting, and he goes, people were pretty much, they were leaving. He sat me down, he explained to me, he's going to be going through a lot soon, and it's going to be really intense. And he's like, Brian, I really need you to be my right-hand man. You're going to have to take on extra responsibilities. I said, okay. I didn't know what he meant by that at the time. Then, as time went by, pretty much 6 months later, September, he started hurting. He started having trouble just getting up and down the stairs, and his body went through a complete, he's got a complete metamorphosis. So he made this statement. He says, my spiritual part has run ahead of my flesh part at this moment, and that's why I am the way I am. And for those of us who were around who saw him, we know exactly what I'm talking about. And he lost weight, and he really slowed down. So the other day, I'm like, what does that finally mean? What was it that he went through? Now, Pasquale was able to put himself up there, but unlike the boy I spoke to you about, who was forced up there quickly, Pasquale was able to go up in small sequential steps. It's like he jumped out of the zone where his spiritual part had run ahead of his flesh part. And he was able to do a lot of intense work, meaning removing whatever is in his way, whatever stumbling blocks are in his way, he was able to get rid of them. And he was able to do that, but for his physical body, it was a lot. And then shortly after that, he says, now it's time to get my flesh back. When I look at it was like he got rid of, it was like, he got his flesh back, but it wasn't like the way before. I look at it was like a virgin birth. Virgin means pure. Like he got rid of all that junk. The flesh he gave back, I believe, was more like aligned, as Nancy was just saying. It was perfectly aligned. And he went through a lot to do that. And for some reason, he had to do that in front of us. And we really saw that. And I'm looking at it all these years later. This is 2026, so it's going to be 16 years pretty soon that we saw all this stuff happening. Well, it was happening 16 years ago. And the reason why I'm bringing this up is because he did these things in small sequential steps. But sometimes you do those small sequential steps, and he says, and you got to do the steps in between the steps. But when you did a small sequential step, it's like you get, boom, up into a whole nother level. And it's intense. It's like you do that last sequential step at this level, then boom, you're up to this level, and it's intense. And he did that, and he did that right in front of us. He truly made a complete metamorphosis right in front. I believe he had that virgin birth right in front of us. And then he's like Elita did before him in 1998. She left so she could help us more from the other side. Pasquale's like, I can help them more from the other side. So he chose to leave. And that's what he did. And that's just some brief points. I have other things to say about these things, but I just wanted to put it out in this format and just talk about these particular things with Pasquale. And just think about what that means. My spiritual part has run ahead of my flesh part. And that's why I am the way at this moment. And then now it's time to get my flesh back. Just think about what that means to you. You could, if you go to the Self Center website, you can type, you can look up in these videos, you can go to there's transcripts, you can read it, go to the videos to see what he looks like when he's saying these things. It's all on there. And I just want to keep it at that. And chiropractic You know, I learned a lot through Nancy with Kabbalah workshops. I don't want to get into some of it. There's more. I don't want to. But when she was talking about that middle pillar, that's really powerful stuff, and it does apply to what Pasquale went through. I just don't want to get into that now. I just want to put it up there now, so in the future we can get to it. And that's all I have to say.
Would anybody like to ask Brian anything?
Well, it's either you or them.
Brian,
Go ahead, Alex.
what, looking at so much of life, and especially with, I think what we all here try to do, how do you work on your patience when moving through these small sequential steps? I find a lot of times I get very, very impatient. Do you have any recommendations on that? Any, hacks on that?
Well, to me, it's just a signal to slow down. So it makes me have patience, because if I don't slow down, I'm going to miss the lesson I need to learn from it, which I've done, by the way. But I've learned over the years just to slow down, learn what I need to learn, and then you'll just get that message to move on. So you have to have patience, as the old saying. So just recognize it's telling you, it's a message, God whispering in your ear, slow down. When you slow down, then the message will come back to you, okay, now it's time to get up and do things. So that's how I do it.
Anyone else have anything they'd like to ask Brian? Go ahead, Nancy.
Yeah, in this world today especially, there are a lot of people experiencing a lot of pain emotionally, physically, economically, and they bring all that into your office. They bring all that to the adjustment. How do you flow with that? How do you not let it overwhelm you? And how do you still be in that pause and still not rush ahead to try to, I would assume as a chiropractor that it's like you want to help everybody. So it's just like you keep going. I want to keep helping people. But there's also a time for yourself. So how do you deal with that?
Well, as far as the people coming in, I just, the one thing I learned a long time ago, I just let people be who they are. I'm not here to change them or give them orders how to run their lives, but that relaxes people when they say that, just like Pasquale, how that boy came up to him and kissed him on the cheek, because Pasquale, I know, could see who that boy really is, and that boy sensed that. And I just look at people, I think I'm at that point, I get to see who they really are, and when they come in, they sense that, and that helps them relax, and then they feel safe. And by relaxing and feeling safe, it allows them to process whatever needs to process, and when the whole thing's done, they may not recognize it right away, but maybe when they go home the next day, that they have more peace of mind, whatever it is they're going through. As far as how I do that for myself, I'm going through all these things as well. It's just like I'm not separate from anyone or from the world, all this stuff, but I just let myself be myself. And like what I was saying to Alex, I let myself slow down, and by slowing down, I get the messages that I need to do to keep myself calm and tranquil and peaceful and loving towards myself and others. So that's how I do it.
Anybody else like to ask Brian anything? Tori, Alex? Facebook?
Anyone else? That's it? All right, thank you everybody. Well, clap for me.
I was blocking the camera, I'm sorry.
Doesn't matter.